All right, we're going to try and get started here. Sorry about the late start, folks. There was a last-minute room change, and we're going to see some stragglers come in because it is quite a jaunt from the other room. I'm Brett Strauss. I'm with NetExam, and we're going to talk about channel partner certification today. I have with me Bob Bies with Salesforce and Timu Kolamainen with Dell. Bob's going to jump into some product features and show you how Salesforce and NetExam integrate for a seamless training certification program. Timu's going to talk about some real-world examples about how they rolled out global training at Dell over the last 18 months? 12 months? 18 months. I'll give you 18. Let me get over here. Safe harbor statement. Does anyone really need to read this? Or? Great. So we're going to talk a little bit about how Dell achieved a 70% increase in yearly revenue growth. One of the main reasons Dell was able to discover that was through the integration with Salesforce and NetExam. They were able to export certification data, overlaying it over revenue data, and find out who their highest qualified partners were, which is great. If there's one thing that you can learn today and walk away from, it's the knowledge that certification is a great tool for transferring knowledge, but it's an even better tool to use to filter your partners, to identify your quality partners from what we like to call the deadwood. You can use training and certification to manage entitlements, to make sure your best qualified partners are getting more of your attention, more of your dollar investment, and to make sure you're identifying the people that might not be going through your training, and maybe you pull back a little bit on the investment strategy with them. And I have seen some companies go so far as to turn non-certified partners into self-serve partners, where everything you want is on the web. You're not going to get any MDF. You're not going to get any leads, no deal reg. You're not even going to get a phone call from a camera name once a month. If you're not going to show me that you've got the loyalty to my brand and won't take a few hours to go through our certification programs, then I need to take my time and money invested elsewhere. So we're going to talk about how integrated certification can help increase revenue, increase lead closure rate, which is a very important one, help manage MDF, and manage my partner entitlements. So I'm Brett Strauss, president of NetExam. We established in 2001. We're a privately held company. Our headquarters is in Dallas, Fort Worth. We have a sales office out here in San Francisco and a development office in Sri Lanka. We have three primary products: NetExam, which we're going to be talking about today, Partner Labs, which is a virtual demo to lead generation application, and Ensemble, which is a social content management application. We have partnerships, obviously, with Salesforce, Ping Identity, Perks.com, a number of applications that fit in well with our application that we deliver to our clients. Key clients, obviously, Dell, IBM, Adobe, McAfee. So what's the true value of certification? There really is a lot of value at many different levels. Brand advocacy is a massive one. It's a huge one that needs to be taken seriously. I've been into partner organizations, and I've seen 15 McAfee certifications plastered all over their cubicles, and they take them seriously. And what happens is when an individual calls up, they don't call up and say, I want 50 seats of McAfee. They call up and say, I need 50 seats of antivirus. And it's up to the other person on the line to recommend a product. And they're going to be much more inclined to recommend a product that they've been trained in, that they're comfortable in selling, and it's going to be a better buying experience for the customer. You can use training certification to increase revenue, obviously increase customer satisfaction. Partner recruitment. Partners want to know that you're willing to invest in them to help them do their job better. If they make more money, you might make more money. So, and also using certification to manage entitlements and improve resource allocation. Once again, identifying the quality partners from your deadwood. So in the classic partner model, we've got a nice balance of obligation and entitlements. My smaller organizations, my silver level partners, I'm going to give them a little bit of entitlement, and I'm going to expect a little bit of effort from the back end. Now keep in mind, certification isn't the end all be all. There's other applications and other features in the relationship with the partner. As they move up, moderate to moderate. And for your largest partners, you're going to expect more, maybe more certifications, maybe more communication, maybe a higher dollar return, but there needs to be a balance there. And if you use certifications as a way to manage entitlements, you're going to help level the playing field. Because if you just do it on revenue, folks, then CDW and all these other guys are going to get all of your money. You're going to find out that there's some medium-sized partners out there that dollar for dollar might actually be more profitable in your partner relationship. So once again, certification, just a piece of the pie. There's other things on the investment you're going to make in the partner, how much revenue they're creating, where are they located. A partner located in the Bay Area compared to a partner that's located in Kansas City. You have different expectations in revenue from both of those. So certification program. We've kind of gotten to a point in our organization where we won't even work with a company that hasn't developed some type of roadmap for a certification program. And there needs to be a way to share what your expectations are for training for your partner organizations. So at the bottom level, we have what we would generally call a professional level service training. This is 101. It's train the masses. How can I get as much knowledge transferred to as many people as possible in the most affordable way possible? As they move up, they're going to get to the expert level. And the expert level, it's going to be more difficult, maybe a little more expensive, a little bit more time-consuming. And I'm going to move beyond just e-learning. I might do some in-person training, might do some virtual labs, some hands-on training. But I'm not going to expect as many people from the professional level to move up to the expert. And at the very top is the masters. At that point, you're flying a partner out. They're spending 2 weeks in a local hotel. It's all one-on-one. It's a huge investment. You might charge $10,000, $20,000 for that level of certification, but what they're going to get in return for that is your best qualified leads with your largest organizations. So it's important that the partners have a roadmap on how to move up the scale. And some of them are never going to get to the masters, and they don't expect it. If you have 50,000 partners, you want to try and get 50,000 people trained at the professional level. If you're lucky, you'll get 5,000 at the expert level and maybe 500 at the master's level, because it's just not for everybody. Not everyone can afford it. Not everyone is going to benefit from it that much. But I think everybody needs to have a solid roadmap on how to move partners through a training mechanism and how they can move up in the system knowing that their entitlements are tied to it. So information management, probably one of the most difficult problems that you're going to face. There's so many different things to understand and questions that partners are going to have, like how many certifications do we need before we become a platinum partner? When do my certifications expire? What courses have I completed? And then, of course, you're going to do this in 22 languages if you're a global company as well. This is really where the integration between NetExam and Salesforce is critical. There is a direct communication between the applications, and what happens in one is immediately shared with the other, so it becomes an automated process. So if I'm going to, maybe I'm only going to offer leads to my certified partners. It's a good idea. It ensures that good quality leads are not being fumbled, if you will, by people that aren't trained well enough to follow them. So if I require training and certification prior to delivering a lead to a partner, that has to be instant. The second that partner gets certified, those leads need to immediately start getting funneled to that individual. They expect instant gratification. So that's why the integration between Salesforce and NetExam is really pretty critical, because it automates that process. It makes everything run pretty much instantaneously. So what we're seeing is account and contact registration going into SFD and then being routed over into Channel LMS. At the same time, when you develop a certification program, that information has to be sent back to SFDC so that when the flag gets sent that the partner has completed the training, you have to have a home for that flag. It has to exist somewhere. So the information is really pretty seamless. So we get user account information straight through Salesforce. There's a flag in Salesforce that you can check off. Data automatically gets thrown in there. As soon as someone gets certified, that information immediately gets sent back into Salesforce, because that might trigger a number of other features. You might be managing entitlements not just based on certification, but on size, on revenue, on location. And you need to have all that information combined in one location so you can make a logical decision. So what are the benefits of these two applications? You get an enhanced learning experience. Certification attainment is credited to partner obligation in real time, and that's really important. If you, let's say you're offering 8% for a deal reg and you want to bump that up to 12% if they're certified, if a partner goes in and gets certified, he wants that next deal to be 12%, even if it's 5 minutes after he completes that course. So a lot of people are offering this type of feature, but they're doing it through Excel spreadsheets. It's being managed by individuals, and things are getting, even if it eventually gets done, it's not instantaneous, and I think the partners tend to want to see things go immediately. Access to entitlements are automatically triggered through the relationship as well. And shared access to certification status. If you're going to require certification and training as part of the relationship with the partner, then the partner needs to be able to go in and see how their employees are doing. This isn't a one-to-one relationship. There's a gentleman over at SFD or over at CDW or SHI or any other partner organization that is responsible for managing training. So you have to provide them with an environment where they can come in and then assign individuals to complete certain certifications. So partner scorecard. There needs to be a way for you as a manufacturer to go in and running a single report and see the status of all of your partners and where their certifications are, where they're short, maybe find out which partners are going to be losing their certification in the upcoming quarter and communicate with them effectively. So the system allows you to do that. It allows you to go to a single page and see all of your certifications and see the status of all of your partners and organize them. And this is a great tool for CAMs and NAMs to be able to pick up the phone and contact the partners and say, hey, what's going on? Why are you not hitting your numbers? Are you downsizing a little bit? Do we need to talk about readjusting our agreement? And, of course, reporting. You've got to be able to make predictions on revenue based on certification. And you can do that by overlaying revenue and certification data and looking at the partners across your organization. And actually, there's quite a few different reports that you can run, finding out which ones are about to lose certifications, which ones are maybe just one certification from rising up into a platinum status. So we offer quite a bit of analytics that you can run to find out the status and the health of your program at any one time. And, of course, this information needs to be available to the partner. The partner needs to be able to come in and say, okay, I'm currently a silver partner, and it looks like I'm going to lose a certification in the next quarter. One of my people has a specific certification that's only good for 12 months, and it's going to fall off next quarter. I need to send someone in to get certified to make sure I don't lose that status. They need to be able to log in at any time and get access to where they are in the process as well. So, key takeaways. Partner programs are getting more complex, obviously. Training and certification for some companies is really quite critical, a part of the relationship. We hope more companies. And you can use certification to better distribute leads, manage MDF, and to qualify partners for deal reg. And because of the complexity, it's really quite necessary to have a pretty seamless integration between PRM and your certification program, whatever product you use. That has to be instantaneous. So I'm going to hand it over to Bob Beast.
Thanks, Brett. Good afternoon, everyone. Bob Beast, technical pre-sales consultant with Salesforce.com. I work in the high-tech vertical, and I had the opportunity to team with Brett and his guys in a couple of partner relationship management opportunities we've been working. And with the experience I sort of gained in developing and then ultimately delivering this message, Brett's asked that I kind of give you a high-level look at how the applications work together and how essentially you would access this information from Salesforce. Brett didn't mention it. Before I actually get into the demo, first of all, PRM users. If I can see what the lights are. Okay, a few of them. Brett did mention it. NetExam has recently gone through a pretty major upgrade. And I had my first experience with NetExam was about 1.5 years ago as version 5. And like version 6, a rock-solid LMS. All the necessary compliances, SCORM and AICC, offers all the administration tools to create courses and curriculum and certifications, essentially everything that you would need to roll out an incredibly effective learning management system and the ability of tracking training and certifications. It was built in an environment, though, that made it sort of clunky within the Salesforce environment. Active server pages were used. And there was a situation where you would move from Salesforce and into the older release and have a very distinct difference between the two. They've since rewritten this completely using JavaScript and Visualforce pages. And if you know anything about Visualforce, you know it's sort of our direction in creation of look and feel within our app. So there's a much more blended feel now between the two applications. In fact, there's times where you don't know where you are, if you're in Salesforce or you're in NetExam, because the two environments are so close. It provides all the capabilities you would need within Salesforce, and to Brett's point, many, many touch points that are available within the environment as well. They've also opened the entire thing up to APIs. So as we talk about applications, essentially having NetExam here and Salesforce here, the capabilities of seamlessly being able to integrate information between the environments. So a very simple way for us to be able to take information in either case, and again, we'll talk about the touch points as we go through some of the demo, and be able to use them and move them from place to place. The last thing, and probably the most significant from the learner perspective, are things they call widgets. You're probably familiar with widgets in working with things like iGoogle or my Yahoo, where you've got essentially self-contained objects for things like my email and my notes and my lists or whatever. The capabilities of arranging in a workspace that makes it very, very easy for you to sort of keep track of this information. Same thing holds true in their learner portal. And we'll look at that as we get into the portal aspects of somebody actually consuming training and going through the certification process. It's also important to note that because of that API, because the capabilities they have from an integration back-end perspective, the capabilities of creating your own widgets. So now you can take information from back-end systems, things you may want to push out as it relates to training and certification, and pull them into the single environment, allowing you essentially to extend the capabilities of their application by means of being able to pull information in from the back end. I'm going to go ahead and actually kick off the presentation part. I apologize for if you're not able. This would actually be easier for me to kneel. I'm 6'5", and this PC is way down there for me. Salesforce PRM. This is partner relationship management, and the design obviously is to take your internal sales processes, be able to push them out to your indirect sellers, and essentially give them the capabilities of selling for you. Lead distribution out to those partners, giving them the capabilities of registering deals back with you. And that, in and of itself, generally makes a much more robust and a much larger pipe for overall for a company. Obviously, you're being able to capture and being able to track this information. What NetExam does in this formula is adds that critical element of certifications. Now it becomes not only tracking people that were, who are effective in the system, those resellers who are selling for you, but giving them the opportunity to become much more knowledgeable about your products, much more knowledgeable about your brand, and then use that information to sell to those partners who have made or to provide information to those partners that are going to best use it. So as we walk through the demonstration, I'll show you, again, some capabilities within our own application, certainly some capabilities within the NetExam application, and you'll see basically how the whole thing comes together. So right from the top, we see the NetExam administration screen, the tab here. Clicking on it, you'll notice that I wasn't asked for an ID and a password. This is single sign-on between both environments. So we, in essence, are running NetExam here within this pane designed in the window. Same navigation metaphor, so the same file folder tabs, the same capabilities I would have as a Salesforce user. And again, all the functional areas listed here. The capabilities of getting into courses and the capabilities of creating courses and curriculum. The ability of creating certifications, managing classroom and all the assets that are associated with the classroom, things like instructors, things like calendars, things like where are these classes going to physically be held as I present them. Users of the system, communications, virtual lab settings, and then we have an LMS, or I'm sorry, a content management system here at the end, which is NetExam today, but as you probably heard during the keynote this morning, we're opening up our own content application via API. So this, in essence, could be everything stored within Salesforce content, which is probably the direction everything is going to go now. Again, with their capabilities of being able to reach out to our content library and pull in the resources, things like Flash and things like the other elements you're going to use within the application, another integration point within the Salesforce environment. So I, as a training administrator, somebody creating curriculum, basically would get into the application, would be able to get into the listing of curriculums, and again, sort of drill into the courses that actually make up the overall curriculum. I then, from a certifications perspective, can create a certification against it. And again, having all the certs listed here, certifications would provide, again, some deeper understanding and additional information as it would apply to the curriculum that I'm pushing out to the field. That information now, as is delivered, is actually happening within NetExam. So as people are going in, they're taking training, they're doing the exams, they're passing the exams and becoming certified, that information passes back to Salesforce in a Salesforce object called certifications. So again, as information is created within the NetExam environment, API to API, this information is firing across, and we see the recent certifications within a Salesforce object. I can go into any one of these and see, in this case, the partners, the individual at the partner that is certified on a particular product. Now I can drill into, obviously, Acme resellers. This is sort of the PRM portion. This is a typical PRM reseller profile where I'm managing things like scorecards And in this particular instance or example, it's entirely based on revenue. How many leads are they working? How many leads have they closed? What are the open opportunities? What are the open opportunities worth? Could put certification data in there because it's now native within Salesforce. And again, as we sort of work down the list, you can see a variety of other things that PRM offers. Big ones right here. Things like, again, the opportunities that they're currently involved in, budgets. Brett mentioned MDF and our capabilities of being able to manage it within the application. Those are the budgets that we establish with this particular reseller. And again, we'd have any of the claims that they have against the budget listed here. Channel plans, mutual success plans we're creating with that channel partner. And then right at the bottom here, my scroll mouse isn't working, certifications. So again, I'm building, much like I would in an inside sales view, building a 360-degree view of my partner. Looking at it from the perspective of where are they, what kind of history do they have, what kind of future are they going to have by means of channel plans, and again, looking very specifically at the certifications they currently hold. Once in Salesforce, and beyond the idea of having it here, we see expiration dates, which would enable us then to trigger time-based workflows from that. We use this information in the ways Brett described. Lead assignment, deal registration, and the capabilities for them to be able to earn MDF. Marketing development funds. So now with a lead assignment rule, I can say lead comes in for product XYZ, look for those resellers who are certified in that particular product, and either send it directly to them or put it in a queue where those partners would have access to it. As I am a partner, we'll look at this in just a second in the portal, I found a deal locally and I begin to work that particular opportunity. I want to then register it with a company to get credit for it. If I'm certified in the product that's listed in my opportunity, again, an additional percentage given to me for being certified. So there's a number of ways we can use that information to provide a more effective way of managing the information that's coming to and from a partner. If we bounce over to the customer portal, and I can do that, clicking on a partner and saying log in as a partner user. We're now leaving Salesforce sort of inside view and looking at it from sort of an exterior perspective, looking at it from what a partner would actually see when they log into the application. Cache, cache, cache. There we go. Typical partner display, and again, you'll see a lot of the same things we saw within the Salesforce view, access to accounts and leads and opportunities. Notice that we've got a couple of indications here on the screen that are pointing my resellers to getting into things like product certifications. A little note there that essentially says, hey, you certify on products, you're going to earn higher margins. We can even build in some sort of tickler files into opportunities, and you probably all have seen find-related content within the Salesforce system. This enables me in an opportunity to actually ask Salesforce, find me documents that are going to be helpful for me in the opportunity that I'm currently working. We've listed the XT5500 storage solution as our product. We're competing against ABC machines. I click on Find Related Content, and Salesforce Online Content Engine goes out and finds me documents. And again, here's one PowerPoint presentation that it found that is sort of a competitive briefing on how I, as a reseller, could beat these particular guys that I'm competing against. But also notice that I've got the capability, just based on product, to pull in training information as well. So again, a reseller going, hey, you know what? There's something that came up that is certification-based here. I can go in and look at this full screen and essentially be pointed again to training. We could include links here that would drive them right to a particular course. So again, this sort of pushing this information out to resellers, enabling them to to see it, to be able to use it, and encourage them to ultimately move over to the Learner Portal, which is the delivery mechanism for training. And again, as this comes up, you'll see the widgets I was talking about, my capabilities here of being able to move these guys around, to be able to select the ones that are most appropriate for the way that I want to do business. I could also add additional widgets that would be made available to me either as part of the NetExam application or, again, from a back-end system that I could use here as well. And again, same series of tabs, training tab, a learning plan, messaging, transcripts for my own particular purposes. I also have group transcript that would enable me, as perhaps a partner manager, to keep track of the certifications of my own employees. So again, some information that rolls up into a simpler way for me to get to information. Now, if we remember the nav here, I had a class all bookmarked or a course all bookmarked, but I'm not gonna find it. This is basically the execution environment where I would have the capabilities of very easily going into training, and there we go, training and ultimately being executed right from here. I'm enrolled in this course. I click on the link. This happens to be obviously computer-based training, but I could also sign up for instructor-led training here as well. And again, you see full flash, the capabilities of doing delivery right online. When I'm done with this training, I can actually go ahead and go into the certification process. Once I certify, again, the information rolls right back into PeopleSoft, updates my employee or my account profile by means of the APIs that are talking to one another from NetExam to Salesforce. Now, one last thing. I'm going to turn it over to Timu. Within the environment, Brett alluded to this and obviously showed you some graphs that were part of the NetExam environment. Standard dashboarding applies as we talk about it from the standpoint of certifications being managed by the application. So in traditional sense, partner types listed here, year-to-date revenue based on the channel. Here are U.S. certified partners. So again, I'm taking information that we've pulled out of NetExam and using it here. Probably the most important, and really sort of my handoff point for Timu, is certified partner revenue. Comparing it again, looking at revenue based on those people that have taken the time and made the commitment to certify versus those who haven't. And again, some of this is going to ultimately be based on the fact that I'm going to be sending these guys, the certified guys, more leads. They're probably going to be more encouraged to send me deal registration. But again, that's what you're shooting for, is the fact that, or the idea that when you certify, when you make a commitment to an organization, you're taken much more seriously. You're given the privilege of having leads where other people wouldn't see it. And that is really what it's all about, building channel volume, building channel pipeline. And with it, I'm going to turn it over to Timu, who's going to talk to you about how Dell has put a lot of these principles into action.
All right. Thanks, Bob. Can you guys, everybody hear me? Yeah.
You can hit my mic over here. Thank you. Real quick, we're going to give away a Dell laptop at the end of this session, and Neil Passero is going to walk around with a little fishbowl, if you will. If you want to drop your card in there, then maybe we'll get part of your Christmas shopping done for the kids. So. And
No problem. Let me put the presentation mode here real quick. Yeah. I'll go down this. All right. Well, I'm not going to talk about APIs today because I don't even know what it stands for. That's the good thing about being in the business. But I do want to get a quick show of hands on how many people are currently in this group just developing a sort of like a certification program. So brand new to it. This is kind of learning about what this is all about. That's good because that's the kind of audience I wanted to make sure that you guys can kind of get some lessons learned that I'll be sharing with you guys at a later point. But I wanted to give you a little bit of background of our Partner Direct program. As you probably know, we're very famous for our direct business, but we're actually coming up on our 2-year anniversary when we officially announced the Partner Direct program. And that's coming December 3rd. So we're pretty excited. We've done a lot of stuff in 2 years. And we literally started from about 0 to tens of thousands of partners around the world. And not all of them are certified, so we're going to talk about that. And we're now, at this point, available in over 100 countries, 20 languages, and so forth. If you want to learn more about it, just for kind of like what it looks like and read more details, just go to dell.com/partnerdirect, and you'll see all the countries we support and all that, and you can go to those pages and read some more details on that. So what we're trying to focus on today is that how important certifications have become in our Partner Direct program. It is truly a linchpin part of the program. It's not everything, but the fact is that we've found, and I think Brett alluded to it, that obviously those certified partners are much more valuable to us. They invest time in us, and this is a great benefit for them. So if they go through the trouble of becoming certified on some of our very complex stuff, enterprise architecture, practice areas and so forth, or managed services or whatever, we keep on delivering these, they are investing a lot of their time in, and we find that investment pays back to us as well. So we've been basically designing these different kinds of practice areas. We started off with enterprise architecture. It was like one of those first things. If you guys don't know, we acquired a company called Equalogic a couple of years ago or so, and they kind of came in with the initial, so, hey, we already do some of this stuff. So we're like, okay, that's great. Let's take some lessons learned. They're very strong in the partner community already. And that's where we started evolving this whole certification area for all of Dell. It started from a very little nugget of here's this one thing, and now we're expanding it all over the place into new businesses. We're obviously taking feedback from our partners, what they want to be certified in, and also obviously what the market conditions are kind of dictating to us. I already kind of mentioned this, but it is an investment also on Dell's part. I mean, it takes a lot of time and effort to create a proper certification program. I know some of the team members who work on this. There's full-fledged, global team of, I can't remember, 10, 12 people. That's all they focus on is creating and managing and evolving the certification programs. That's a commitment on Dell's part. I mean, that's not only that, and then creating the collateral and then translating it and doing all those kinds of things. It's not come for free. It's not like we just make you go through a bunch of hoops and then we get all the benefit. There's an investment on Dell's part. And, of course, our account teams and so forth that are working with certified partners, you get an elevated support model behind you if you're a certified partner. Because, obviously, we can't do the same thing for all 50,000, 60,000 partners as we can do to the limited number of certified partners. Obviously, I'll show you a little bit of a slide about some of the benefits, just to give you a sense of what Dell has decided in one of our regions to kind of offer what a registered partner gets versus a certified partner. But there's a slew of things. We want to incentivize them not just monetarily, which is obviously valuable, but all the other kind of access to different kind of marketing collateral, et cetera. So you really can build your program. Don't think of certification purely as a base of we want to train you and make you an expert at our systems or whatever you're selling, whatever the product that you're selling or service or whatever. But also think of it as a way that you're building a relationship with these guys, these partners, and you want them to have all these other advantages as well. Yes, you probably get a little bit of deeper discount on certain occasions and so forth. That obviously drives a lot of business, but there are other values that they can then take out and grow their business above and beyond just a pure, I get a couple of percentage margin points every so often, a better deal than a registered partner. And obviously, we've, throughout this whole experience, and it's 2 years, so we do have a little bit of information already given the numbers that we're dealing with. They're so much more active. I mean, the number of deal registrations they submit, the number of just transactions they deal with, the size of the transactions that they deal with are obviously much bigger. The volume in every dimension you can think of is much larger, and it makes sense, right? They've invested all this time. They've become specialized, so they're looking for the bigger opportunities and so forth. I mean, it's very symbiotic. It makes sense, and it comes together, but it's certainly proven out at the Dell Partner Direct program. Now here's, and I know this kind of small print, I didn't realize it came out that small on this big screen, but basically you can tell that we do, this is some of the collateral that we put up right in our front pages of our Partner Direct program. So when people come in and start learning about what's Dell Partner Direct program about, I think Bob was pointing out that there is this thing that we encourage them to get certified, right? Say, here are some advantages, we really promote it. And, not everybody's going to be willing to do it. Not everybody even has the interest to do it. That's okay. I wouldn't call our registered partners deadwood necessarily. They are still very valuable, but there's a very big delineation between what a registered partner kind of commits to and what a certified partner does commit to. But we do provide a lot of, just kind of the emphasis here is not that, once again, certified partners get more than just maybe leads or anything else, but they get access to all kinds of, incentive programs, advanced training, whatever. There's a whole bunch of stuff in here. I don't want to read all of them. Special pricing, a lot of things. So the package really needs to be designed. It's not just about the certification, but what are the benefits? And that's something that we spend a lot of time on understanding, like what are the benefits. And we every time we come up with something new, most often, and I can't announce it yet, but most often we give that advantage, access to these new tools or new benefits initially to certified partners, just so that they feel special, and they are special, so it's not like we're faking them out, but that they get this benefit, and they know that every time something new is being introduced, they'll be the first ones that be able to take advantage of it. So that's how we kind of develop these programs. So one of the things, obviously, when you're a company size Dell, you saw the numbers from 0 to tens of thousands. So when it comes to certification programs, we found out about NetExam. It was great because it really, that integration into our CRM tool, and we use both Salesforce for CRM and for PRM. So the difference, customer relationship management, where our sales reps spend most of the time. PRM is what is much more partner-facing. And we need to make sure that this whole thing scales. I mean, we cannot run this on Excel. I mean, this is, we tried it at some time in the past, and it gets very expensive. make a lot of misses. You don't get that timeliness that was mentioned there earlier because, to your point, once you get certified, you want to be able to know. We need to know that our team members, be it the AEs, the sales reps, anybody involved with interfacing with that customer or that partner knows what their status is. You can't just pick up the phone and you almost kind of congratulate them. Hey, you just got certified. This is awesome. Let's start working together. So that having that data centralized in a scalable manner is very key. Bob mentioned a lot about the integration. So there's apparently a lot of cool APIs, et cetera. That's not the important thing from a business side. The business side importance is that data is there. It's trusted. It's so tightly integrated that, we know that contact, that user is that person, and it's tightly integrated. And to put someone into the system, into NetExam, you just click a button. It's so integrated. It's so easy for our operations teams to manage this through this integration. So obviously, we looked at it when we first started this program. We committed to Salesforce.com, and all these things, the views that Bob was showing earlier about all those things that are attached to it, we all talk about the 360 view. Certification is a very important part of that 360 view of that customer. And they do work very quick. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I'm not a techie guy, so to me, it's just amazing. You hit a button, and boom, I go over there, and somebody shows me that all that information got flowed into exactly the right way. You can't miss up the company names because it's all flowing. There's no double typing, any of that stuff. So it's very, very helpful. And the fact that the information comes in once somebody passes what we've set the criteria to be for certification, for example, it flows in, and that sales team, the next time they look at it, it's there, it's clear there. Or, equally importantly, I think we saw some charts earlier where we showed they're 80% there. And you're like, you can pick up the phone and go, hey, is there something why aren't you at 100%? You go do it, finish it up. What can I do to help you complete your certification? Because we want you to succeed. So it's one of those things. And I kind of talked about the internal operations, and that's a very important thing from a scalability perspective. You don't want to be managing things in multiple lists in different places. The fact that this is all sort of centralized, Salesforce.com has all the data when it comes to the accounts, the contacts, and all that, and that's great for us. And then we just seamlessly share that with NetExam and vice versa, and it's been a really, really critical. I mean, we couldn't have done the level of growth that we've done without that kind of stuff. There's no way. I mean, I still know about some people in some sections that kind of keep track of stuff in spreadsheets. I'm like, guys, it's all in here. And then, of course, in Salesforce, you can run all these reports. So it's not just going at that one account, one contact. Because the data is now in Salesforce, and I'm not sure how familiar most of you are, but the reporting capabilities in there are just phenomenal, right? So you can run all these reports, and all that data is going to be there available to run off from Salesforce. So if you have people who are already running reports from Salesforce, you can run a lot of the NetExam reports from here as well. And I'm not, once again, I don't know the integration at 6.0, and it sounds really, that was really fantastic, but all that data is going to be there. And I think that we're actually working with NetExam to continue to enhance that. Because we found that more data that is available at the fingertips of the sales reps, the more informed they are, the more things that they know about what certifications, what status they're in, when things are going to expire, flags coming up that, hey, better tickle this guy because they are about to expire and they're going to lose those benefits that they've worked so hard to earn for the past year or so. So it's all very, very, I don't know how to put it. It's a very nice place for an ISR. It's a very nice, I'm a business program manager. I don't work in sales, but it's always good to hear from the sales people that, hey, it's made my life so much easier. So it's always fun. All right. I want to share some lessons learned because I saw a lot of people are kind of starting up the certification program, and we certainly hit a lot of bumps in the road. I don't want to make this sound like it was a smooth sailing all the way across. As a global company, when we first started the Partner Direct program, we were, let's put it this way, we were sort of regionally based. There was a North American team, there's a Latin American team, there's a European team, an emerging European team, Asia Pacific, Japan, everybody had their own things. I don't think we did a very good job initially to getting people together and saying, let's kind of drive this certification plan, the program, the benefits, all those kinds of things together so that when they create the programs, it makes sense for everyone. Because if you do something that's very U.S.-centric as far as, these, like I mentioned, creating some of these certification, the actual material, the collateral, and the questions, I mean, it takes a lot of work, a lot of very dedicated work. and it wasn't necessarily meeting everybody's needs. And so now we've kind of reorganized the company into much more of a global segments. So it's a lot easier, but if you have the opportunity from the get-go, and if you're, even if it's not global, if it's just multiple regions, just get that plan together, get as many people together as possible early on, so you don't avoid the kind of like, I didn't know about that, I disagree with that, and you could have settled that before you've spent all that money creating the certification collateral. Another one is very powerful tools have the problem that very powerful tools can be really poorly used by people who don't know what they're doing. We've had exams disappear, just disappear, because somebody was like, I thought I was in the sandbox. I thought I was... And then we have to call these guys, and they'll go and resurrect it from somewhere, from the database. But we're like, what happened to that class? People are in the middle of taking class. They come back next day, it's gone. And that's because somebody just did something wrong. So train your people well, because if you have administrators, they have a lot of power in their hands. And that's a good thing, but have them trained well, because you don't want to have the embarrassment and then calling these guys and getting them out of bed 3 a.m. like they need this stuff out in Europe by 9, so get it out. Another one is just certification requirements. You know, it seems like a simple thing. People like to get like, well, let's make it this and tweak it like that. If the partners don't understand what those requirements are, it's not clear, it's not simple. You know, keep it simple. You guys heard that saying? Do that, because if there's, especially if there's other things like, not everything is about the training. We have some of our programs that requires minimum revenue brought in. You got to buy a demo unit, because otherwise we don't believe you can actually sell this stuff unless you actually have a physical unit to show someone, and so forth. But make it easy for people to understand what their requirements are. You don't want them to be like, forget about it, it's too complex, never mind. And if you're doing international stuff, don't underestimate the cost of translations and just the time lag. Everybody, we're fortunate that most people in the business world speak English, so you kind of go with the mode, everybody speaks English. But no, once you start getting out there into other countries, they might speak English, but when you're trying to get them to train in something very complicated, they're a lot more comfortable in their native language when at all possible, obviously. So, and it takes time. It takes a lot of time and money to get that done correctly. And I think one of the things that we also learned is, we probably pulled down the throttle a little bit too little. We didn't open up the floodgates to certification. We were very targeted. Like, we thought that we knew which partners would be best qualified to become certified. I don't know what we thought. I mean, it was just one of those things where we know better, and it turns out, well, no, there's all these people who are clamoring to become certified. And once they become certified, they're just as good as anybody else that we may have didn't meet the profile that we first thought that might be the one that would make it. And suddenly, out of nowhere, somebody comes certified, and you're like, they're one of our best partners, for example, in some country. So don't hesitate to let it be open to anybody. It's an investment on their part. Nobody's going to go through those hoops unless they're really dedicated to it. So, kind of a final point. This kind of just illustrates how important this is to us. I mean, I keep on saying it is a pillar in our Partner Direct program, a very important pillar. And this is a quote from Greg Davis, who's our VP and GM for the whole global channels for Dell. And basically, he just made a quote. I mean, I just grabbed this out of a magazine, as a matter of fact. I looked at it and go, this is a great quote. He's basically, we started off with a goal, doubling the number of certified partners in the program. And he's like, hey, stretch goal, let's triple it. Because that's how valuable. And that does, and he manages that team of people who plan some of these certification tracks and so forth. And he's putting a lot of pressure on those folks to come up and create ones and to push this out and making sure that sales teams encourage people to get certified. He really sees the value in this. And it's an investment on Dell's part on many fronts. So, I guess that just says it all. I mean, go do it. We have a lot of things to focus on. He wants to focus on this one. So, I guess we're going to open it up to Q&A. Is there any questions? If you feel, I don't know if I'll either try to repeat it or if you want to come up to the microphone and ask a question, if there's any questions from anybody. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Pam, and I'm with Promethean Incorporated. And just one of the questions I had was, when you went into the program, into the certification program for your business partners, we call them business partners, that were already involved in your business, how hard was it to get them to go back and certify and become a part of this whole program? And the second piece of that is, we have the PRM, we have EPS, is what we call our unit for our business partners. trying to run 2 certification processes. So the first question being, how easy was it to get those business partners that are already on board with the certification?
So you do a little sleight of hand and seriously, well, no, what we did early on, because we obviously didn't have these programs going and we thought it was unfair that people have been doing really good work for us. So we basically grandfathered them in as certified. So when the next year comes along, they'll have to go through the normal process. But if they were already an active partner doing a lot of good work for us and they met some thresholds, we grandfathered them in, said, okay, you've kind of proven it. We don't want you to have to go through all of this because that's not, fair. And we just launched it, so we can't apply this. Anybody else who came on afterwards had to go through the process. And now, after 2 years later, they do have to recertify. It's not like you're grandfathered in forever. So it really kind of depends, to be perfectly honest. I mean, we don't look at it. Our contracts are not. There are very few contracts that we have that are sort of time boxed. It's much more. You've agreed to the terms and conditions of the Partner Direct program, and really the certification is just from whatever the date that we've set for the duration. So if you started on March 1st versus somebody else started on February 23rd, your dates for certification has nothing to do with, quote, the contract. Okay. And then the second part of your question had to do with.
With the PRM, we were trying to get our partners not only certified on our product, but certified on the use of PRM. So that may be a question for next Sam
Or Bob, really.
I guess my experience with partners is they're coin operated. You got to give them reason to go into PRM, to understand PRM, and to reap the benefits of PRM. Pushing leads to them, big deal. And again, if they see value, they see I go there, I'm going to make money. That's one of the big factors. But there's also other elements of PRM that can be used. Again, MDF is a great lure to get people in. Ideas, giving them a forum, content. Here's where you're going to find information. Take it out of the other sources. Take it off the websites that they use. Move it into content. And again, redirect them into that environment, which then exposes them to much of what they see.
Yeah, and I can tack on to that one a little bit. So we've made exactly the conscious decision that Bob's mentioning, that the only way you're going to get to anything that we offer to the channel, partner community, is that you come in through an authenticated, basically, portal, and you go in there, and that's everything is there. So you can't. A lot of things we won't even allow you to do offline. So if you want to do a deal registration, you can't call it in. It has to come online. So, some of them might feel a little bit offended, well, it was so easy in the past days. It's we need to scale. There's a little bit of a story. You have to make them feel comfortable about it. But we, in Europe, we did have that for a while where we kind of allow you to submit deal registrations offline, and somebody would go create an opportunity. We just cut that off. It took us about 6 months to kind of wean everybody off of it, especially some of the sales reps. But then we just said we won't accept them. That's not valid. So we had to do both an internal kind of slow weed people off the old way and then force everybody to come online.
There's one other way. Within NetExam, you can set up prerequisites. So for all of the courses you make available, you can make a Salesforce PRM training module a prerequisite to get access to anything else.
Yep. Great point.
And it forces everyone to take that one course, make sure you know how to use the tool, then we'll open up the training, take the other courses, you can get leads, you can get MDF, and it all kind of feeds on itself.
Okay, we just have a couple more minutes. Anybody else have any questions? No? Oh, yeah? Sure.
Are your programs structured to be annual certification programs, or do you do quarterly based on new product announcements?
So, yeah, most of them are sort of an annual basis. It makes sense. But there are occasions that we actually require, even in the middle of the year, if it is a major enhancement to the product line and you're supposed to be a specialist in it, especially when we're talking the high-end stuff, the enterprise architecture stuff. If we say, hey, now we'll give them, it doesn't have to happen day one, but we'll give them within the next 3 months, you need to add this additional courses and you need to pass the assessment and so forth to continue to, so it's kind of written in the contract that, hey, if this doesn't guarantee you have it for a year, you might have to take actually continued education during the year, right?
And you have to be careful not to abuse their time. You can't get them to take the same course
No, you just,
a year.
No, it's just that additional incremental thing that might be something brand new that's kind of a critical piece of information.
So you really have the option of doing anything. So there's different types of certifications. Some certifications, like a college degree, last forever. Others will last for a year. We've even got one that can change at any time based on whether the government comes in and changes a law of some kind. And you can say, look, it's beyond our control. We said it was good for a year. Guess what? You got to come back in.
Yeah. Did I have someone in the back as well? Did you have a question earlier? Oh. Oh, yeah, I didn't see you. Sorry, the lights are white.
Greg has made some public comments about some of the ROI that you guys have seen with the tools Salesforce and MediaDefined together. Can you touch on that?
So, I mean, ultimately, I'll tell you, Greg would not make a comment like that. Let's triple it. It's costing us money, right? Let's find a way to lose money at a higher rate. So there's and to the point that I can't talk about the specifics, right? Obviously, but the point here is that we have a lot of things that we could focus on. And this is one of the key elements that Greg wants from a business side. I mean, we have the tools now to do it. We have it in a scalable. So it's really, there's no IT issue here. It's all about putting together a proper business program to meet that new goal. But that's taken resources and effort on the team to figure out that piece. So it's clear. I mean, obviously, for example, we usually give more preferential special pricing to certified partners when they register a deal in many instances versus if it's a registered partner who certifies or gets a deal registration. Mm-hmm. Now, it's costing us a little bit more from a pure margin, whatever we give away, but generally those opportunities are bigger, and because they're chasing bigger fish, if you will. And at the end of the day, and they usually, the overall package they're selling has more services involved in it and so forth. So it's one of those things that the ROI is clearly, it varies. I mean, worldwide it varies. I mean, there are definitely different markets and how much of a bump there is on a regional basis, if you will. It's not like you can just peanut butter spread it, right? But in every case, you get a higher ROI from a certified partner over the long term than you do on a registered partner. But it varies by region. Yeah?
I have one more question.
Sure.
Our business partners, we have regional or business partners that are set up via regions. And then we have national partners, Dell and CDW are two of our national partners, which they don't have access to our PRMs, to our PPS system. Will NetExam allow us to have something externally outside of our Salesforce that will allow our national partners to be able to jump out and not necessarily get certified, but have the access to take the exam, make sure they know what our product is like, et cetera, and that information can still feed back to us into Salesforce even though it's not a part of our...
Yes.
Yeah. La, 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 la. Yes. Yes.
We don't allow it, but
That's a
it's
one-word
possible.
answer. Okay, we got the red light. Let's give away a laptop and let you guys run.
Yeah,
So,
who's got the
who's
cards?
got the cards up there? Oh, great. We got one more card here. Anyone else?
Anybody else?
No? No?
This is a laptop. Get it there.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. All right. All right. Let me shift them around. And Timu, I'll let
all right.
you, behind the back, draw
Behind the
one out.
back, blinded by the lights. I'm
Can't
sure.
see.
Somebody
Completely
put something
random.
sticky on this. Whose idea was this?
Who do we have?
All right. Farouk Ali from Cisco.
Yay,
All
Farouk.
right.
Hey.
There you go. Let me go.
Here you go, sir.
Oh, thank you, sir. Congratulations. Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bob?